Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. The day before Thanksgiving, huh? We're all excited here in the U.S. If you're in the U.S., then today's probably a very busy day. And normally, right, we do the news. But guess what? Today, I've got fellow Bitcoiner and Pleb and viewer to the show. I've got Frederic Guimont, who is the creator of this awesome comic book. It's kind of like a Bitcoin themed comic book, and we're going to dive into the whole intricacies about why he did it this way and all of that good stuff. That is called Ratel, which I just recently learned means honey badger in French, which French is my mother tongue, and now I'm completely embarrassed that I did not know that meant honey badger. But yeah, guys, it is going to be an absolutely awesome show with Frederic. And before we dive into it, you know the deal. Right, we're going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium, and we are going to be right back with Frederic and Ratel. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Very, very nice. Look at this. Hey, Frederic.
Hey, how you doing, Phil?
I'm liking this. I am liking this a lot. Sorry, I had to mute it, of course, because of the music. Guys, welcome, Frederic, to the show.
Thank you so much, man. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It is you know what? You said before the show it was an honor to come on the show, but I'm honored to have you on the show because you, sir, are the creative genius that is making this comic. I just talk about Bitcoin and make fun of things. So
well, we couldn't make comics if there wasn't podcasts to listen to while we're drawing. So, it takes it takes a village, as they say.
It takes a village. I appreciate it. All right. So, Frederic, I'd like to dive right into it. Okay. So, first of all, I did not know that Ratel meant honey badger in French.
I didn't know it either before starting the project because we don't see too many honey badgers around here. So it's like totally understandable. I was looking for a way to call it something else than just honey badger or the, because it seemed a little bit too much on the nose. And I was like, well, since this story takes place in Montreal, let me, see what other options are. And I looked what it was in French and it was like, oh, Ratel, that sounds pretty good. That's, 5 letters. Could be a good name. And I ended up going with that. Yeah.
Like that. Ratel, 5 letters. So what's the significance of the 5 letters?
No, it's a short word, because if you're, because if you're typing honey badger in any search engine or on Twitter, you're going to get just a flood of stuff. Ratel just narrows it down and it's easier to be recognized. It's easier to distinguish your project from the other honey badger stuff because everyone has a honey badger this, honey badger that in Bitcoin space. So calling it Ratel was kind of a way to still honor the honey badger and have your own unique take on it as well. So that's kind of the idea.
Okay, so let me ask you this: before you started writing this comic, did you have any experience in writing comics just in general? Is this something that does this kind of relate to your normie work or?
Well, yes and no. So yeah, I grew up wanting to draw comics. It's been my all-time passion, and I studied by myself at home. I went to art classes and all that, and was even accepted at the Joe Kubert School in New Jersey, but I couldn't go because in Quebec, like my parents didn't really have any budget for sending me to the United States for college or to learn to a school. So I got a couple of gigs here and there, but I wasn't able to make it work. And financially, I just became burdened with debt, right? The whole money problem. So I had to, pivot and go do something because just drawing art for a living, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and you earn very little. And so I switched to,
Yes.
web programming, which is almost the opposite. You, with very little work, very little effort, you can make a lot of money for, it wasn't as much of a passion, but at least I got out of my rut and all that. And I ended up kind of making my own website called the Character Creator, which is just kind of fun little, single page app thing, put ads on there, and then was able to earn a little bit of income. And so that's kind of what financed the project in the early years. It's just that was paying the rent. Of course, I had discovered Bitcoin like a few years back. So that feels like, like having a big safety net under me. So like if everything goes wrong, Bitcoin's going to catch me. And, so it makes these supposedly impossible dreams kind of possible again.
Right?
Yeah. So,
That- I'm sorry. I gotta jump in on this. This is why I get to make content. That's exactly it, right? It's like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this kind of stuff. It's like Bitcoin enables me to do this. Let's freaking go.
Yeah.
See, like this is, I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that take.
I mean,
Very
it really is my dream and my passion. So like if you have if you have your time and you have no money worries, if you're not too greedy or too ambitious or whatever, if you just live a simple life, dude, you do your passion. My passion's always been to draw comics. I wasn't able to make it work in my 20s, but it's like this. It's like getting back on a bicycle. The skills are still there, and I'm back in business and I'm doing my dream. And if I could have never written this story 20 years ago. First of all, because Bitcoin didn't exist, but also I was like inexperienced. I didn't have any life experience. I would have written cliche stuff from movies and books I've read.
Yeah.
Now, at least I've got a life behind me. I've met interesting characters. I've had crazy things happen. I've traveled the world a little bit. So it feels like I've got something to say at this point. And, yeah.
You've lived a life. It's very different. You can tell the difference between people who have actually lived a life and people who have not, right? Like you can really tell. It oftentimes has to do with the depth of their passion and whatnot. But yeah, that's a good point. Because let's face it, right? Like I remember, I think somebody, I don't know where I read this, but it had something to do with like, if you're gonna write something, you need to have something to write about. And in order for you to have something to write about, then you need to have experienced something, right? Yeah. I don't know. My screen's a little bit frozen right now. So I don't, oh, there you go. It came back to life. I don't know. This happens sometimes. Okay. So Ratel, is he or she a superhero or an anti-hero, or what's the modeling behind Ratel?
Right. So I kind of see it as a Bitcoin Batman in a way. So instead of having a corporation like Bruce Wayne, right, he just has a fat stack of corn. And the thing is, he was a little bit of an anti-hero in the sense that, he didn't trust the banks and he made mistakes that, Satoshi didn't make. He got caught. He went around, pointing fingers and poking fun at the security holes of the banking system. And they tracked him down. They put him away in jail. But he was able to secure his Bitcoin with the 12-word seed phrase, right? So he goes to jail, memorizes his seed phrase. And when he comes out, well, his Bitcoin has accrued a lot of value. So now he still wants to fight the good fight to get justice in the world. He distrusts the system because the story takes place in a dystopian Canada, headed towards communism, if you can imagine that.
Canada right now?
It takes a lot of imagination to
does it? I don't know, man.
Right.
I don't know.
So he's kind of fighting back against the system, distrust which is the usual superhero tropes. Right? Superheroes are people who are vigilantes. They put on a costume, they stay anonymous, and they're fighting back with punches and on the street and making a difference in the day-to-day lives of people. And Bitcoin is very much a superhero story if you think about it, because Satoshi Nakamoto is totally like a vigilante, right? I mean, he's anonymous. Nobody have ever figured out who he is. He changed the world. For Bitcoiners out there, he is a superhero. He's giving us a weapon against the most, oppressive system, which is the financial system out there. So there was a lot of things to that just fit perfectly with that. And those two pieces seem to fit perfectly together. So he's a real hero in the sense that he went to jail, he learned the tools and trades of the criminals, but he's still got his moral compass pointed in the right direction, right? He's a good guy, he wants to do good things, but he's got to navigate in this world that's kind of rigged against him.
Mm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Sorry, my whole screen. I don't know why that just happened. Oh, this is brutal. There we go. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Anyways, so let me ask you this, because I see that you're on Geyser right now, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. When is the comic book due for release?
So I'm going to be doing the pre-press and getting it printed early next year. So it should be in people's hands, I estimate, in March. If everything goes wrong, it'll be in people's hands in March.
Everything goes wrong.
I'm just kind of buffering.
So
I have less illusions about how much time it takes to get stuff done. So I kind of estimate it around there.
Do you think we're going to get a superhero out of Bitcoin? Because look, in all fairness, right? In all fairness, when we take a look at society, right? Like, because so superheroes to me, and again, even anti-heroes, right? It's like they are essentially the representations of the highest aspirations of what a human being can be, in terms of the qualities of a human, and this is why they choose to be altruistic and be benevolent, to the rest of mankind. So in this particular case, when do you think we're going to get the first Bitcoin superhero? Because look, we don't have any fiat superheroes, right? Nobody became Batman, right? We got all these billionaires. There's not a single one of these guys that's Batman. No. So, right, none of them are Superman. None of them are even freaking what's his name there? The guy that damn it doesn't matter. I don't remember his name. It's irrelevant. So when do you think we get the first Bitcoin superhero? Because look, there's definitely a Bitcoin billionaire out there.
Oh yeah,
there's definitely a Bitcoin billionaire out there. The question is he going to get the suit made, and is he going to become a superhero? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see Bitcoiners running around the city in suits and all that, but there are a lot of Bitcoin heroes. Like everyone who, like, you see people financing projects here and there, making a difference. People are, doing things, improving their lives around them, improving the lives of their family and their friends through small actions. And I think, the idea of a superhero, it's not meant to be a model to follow, like getting on a quadcopter and riding around punching people. It's all good fun and a great exercise, but I think it's more there to inspire us to imitate the values, right? It's not about the going out there and punch. That's the drum. It's almost like wrestling. It's, I think superhero comics kind of like derived from old, Mexican wrestling. It's, putting on costumes. It's theater. It's flashy. It's fun to dive into that world and live in that story. But the real world is different. The real world, you navigate differently. Everyone is kind of a little bit of a superhero on the internet. As soon as you got anonymous handle, you're going around on Nostr or in chat rooms, and no one knows who you are. You can interact with people. You can make a difference. You can, because we're living in an information war right now more than anything else. So I think there are a lot of heroes out there, but they don't advertise. They don't have a logo necessarily, and they don't, you don't want to advertise your name when you're anonymous, which is a superhero is made to be kind of anonymous and flashy at the same time. So it's a big contradiction. But yeah.
So obviously Satoshi is a big influence, but in terms of superheroes, and I think you also mentioned Batman. Who else? Yeah, who else helped shape the influences of Ratel?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing when I got the idea that I was going to get back into comics, I was thinking, okay, what do I want to draw every day for years, right? Because you're spending all this time, and superheroes is what animated me when I was a kid. Like a lot of passion, it's fun. You're drawing, the human body and like its perfection in the most dynamic, interesting, very well lit, beautiful scenes. So that's what motivated me. And I was thinking, okay, I want to draw like I was inspired as a young kid, like by Spider-Man, fighting all these theatrical, over-the-top, campy villains with, a backdrop of skyscrapers and all that. So I was thinking, okay, let me figure out how I can make a superhero who can fly around the city, right? And I was like building tiny little drones a few years back and little custom, quadcopters. And I figured maybe I can put him on one of those and have him fly around the city and fight like supervillains. And that's kind of how it slowly built up. So I gave him like a skateboard looking quadcopter. And turns out there's actually people who are flying around on these things. Like there's actually footage on TikTok of crazy people doing this. So pretty much this feels like a superhero story. It feels like there's sci-fi elements, but everything in there kind of has its equivalent in real life, turns out.
Who's the villain?
Bankman.
Bankman. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it comes from Sam Bankman.
Of course. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so on the nose, right? Bankman. Yeah. It sounds campy. It's very, super villain. Bankman represents the old banking system. So it was perfect, antagonist to Ratel. So I was like, oh yeah, let's do that. Obviously, he doesn't go head to head. He's one of the villains, kind of like in Inspector Gadget, Dr. Claw. You only see his hand.
Yes.
So you see his hand with a cigar, and that's all you ever get to see of him. Perhaps a silhouette here and there.
Yeah.
And silhouette. So he has henchmen. He sends his henchmen out to do his bidding because he has a printer. He has a money printer, so he can pay anyone off to do what he is bidding.
It's funny that you bring up Inspector Gadget. It's probably one of my favorite cartoons growing up, right? Like for me, Inspector Gadget was the superhero. Why? Because he was this clumsy geek that had all this cool tech, and he just always solved, he just always solved everything. It's like he would fall into the solution. I don't know, it's like
with a little help from Penny,
Right. Yeah. A little help from Penny, right? A little help from Penny and the dog. And she had some pretty cool tech too. And so did the dog. I always forget what the dog's name is.
Oh yeah. He had like this freaking thing coming out of his mouth.
And he could talk. And anyway, it was like a two-way microphone and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we're getting a question. But does Bankman have a cat? And that is a very good question because in Inspector Gadget, he did have a cat.
Oh, that's right. Dr. Claw did have a cat. Yeah. Bankman does not have a cat. So
he should.
But the landlady where Ratel ends up living has two cats. So they're going to be in the story as well. So there's a little bit.
You even brought the Catwoman in there, huh?
But it's not your typical Catwoman. You'll see there's as many tropes as there is. There's a lot of original stuff, especially coming from everything that kind of falls from the Bitcoin elements. Kind of give an original taste to the backdrop of superhero tropes that are in there as well. So it's an interesting mix.
Speaking of superhero tropes, right? Something I noticed when I was digging through. So it seems like there's there's a lot of like most superhero tales, right? It's resilience, it's defiance. It's kind of like this dance between the two. Were these drawn? Like, is this from personal experience, or is this something that you picked up in other comics, like to have that kind of
right,
like that kind of theme, right? Like because he's obviously right. He's a honey badger, so the honey badger doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
so the honey badger
take on enemies that are bigger than he is. Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a superhero, so he's also defiant, right? He's not just going along with the law.
Yeah.
A
little bit of both. I mean, mostly. I mean, it's a projection, right? It's a greater than life character. So obviously, like, I'm not infallible. I'm not like I can't take on the whole system by myself. But I am a little bit, like all Bitcoiners, right? I see the flaws and I see how the system is rigged, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do my part to change things, And because back in school, they were like, when you misbehave, the teachers would say, "How would you think if what do you think would happen if everyone acted the same way you acted? And no one ever ended up acting the way I acted in real life. I think a lot of things would have been different. We'd have a lot more Bitcoiners. And so, yeah, I mean, in my own little way, Bitcoiners are changing the system one node at a time, one stack at a time, hodling, getting their money and their hard-earned value out of the system and putting it on the blockchain. I think those are small actions that add up in a cumulative effect. So I'm not out there punching or doing what other people are doing. You have people out there who are spreading the good gospel. They do it better than I could do it. You have people out there, on boots on the ground who are changing things, teaching people, making the coders are the one who are making the big difference because they're actually building the tools. Because Bitcoin is not this. What's very different from all the other things that people are promoting to change the world. Bitcoin is real, right? It's not some hypothetical thing that we need everyone to believe. And then when everyone does this, it's going to be better. Bitcoin already exists. It's already better. You don't need all your friends to get on board to benefit from it. Like if you by yourself get into it, your life is going to start to improve financially and maybe in other ways as well. But if other people start doing it as well, as a community, you and your friends are getting better, and that has exponential effects. But it's not like this pipe dream that we all like. It's not like communism where, if we all start behaving this certain way, if we all believe this or think this, the world's going to be better. No, it's code. It actually works. It's a system, and it's working right now. It's been working for 17 years, and it's going to keep on working, I think, for a long time.
Yep, I totally agree. We've got a question here from from one of our viewers. Z-Logic is saying, how do the Bitcoin elements modify the standard tropes for you?
Right. So right off the bat, all the time in the book is denotated in block height. So, I feel it feels very much like Star Trek. Star Trek, you'd have these points in the show where the captain would be like, talking to himself, captain's log, stardate 259. Yes. So everything is like block height. So if you want to go like to time chain calendar and enter the block height and see exactly what the date is in the comic book, you can follow along that way. But at the same time, it gives you that sci-fi. You're in the head of a maxi, right? So Ratel is very much a Bitcoin all-in maximalist. He's a miner. He's a Bitcoin miner. He has mining rigs, of course. So he's all in. And so you're kind of living through this superhero world, but through the mentality of a Bitcoin maximalist in a way. So he embodies the honey badger. That's another way that things are. And he's also idolizing and seeking to learn from Satoshi. So he has this, kind of silent conversation with Satoshi out there. The fact that, Satoshi never got caught. I have to make sure that I don't make that mistake again because, he already has been to jail for like 9 years. So he's had to learn that lesson the hard way. And now he's living with this fear that he doesn't want to get caught again. So he's doing everything that he can to get away, or not get caught.
Love it. Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. So guys, if you want to contribute to this, I just want to remind everybody, if you do want to contribute, go over, and the link is going to be in the show notes, of course, right? You can go contribute to the Ratel comic on Geyser.
We're almost at 1 million sats, folks.
Almost. Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting. Almost like Silver Surfer.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. So I'm a big fan of like certain archetypes of superheroes. Who's your favorite one? I know it's like you mentioned Spider-Man, you mentioned Batman.
Yeah.
And I understand that those are some of the modelings behind Ratel, but who is your actual favorite superhero?
Oh, wow, dude. I think it changes from time to time. Like when I was a teenager getting into American comics, the Punisher was big. Like, right. I grew up.
Yes.
I grew up on G.I. Joe comics too. Like my dad was in the army. I was living on an army base. So everything that was military, I was like, oh, this is really cool stuff. So Punisher, because Ratel's very much a DIY guy, right? So I think that's the spirit of Bitcoiners. They make their own nodes. They set up their own stuff on the computer. They're very like to build their own
He's like
stuff.
a
And
MacGyver.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a
It's
little bit like a MacGyver. He orders his stuff online anonymously, and he builds a drone his own way because he was in jail for a long time. And I don't know if you know this. I learned this from a friend of mine
Hmm.
who was actually in the same prison that's in the comic, and he was telling me contraband nowadays is brought in by drones. Like they have small drones that bring in the
Oh, yeah.
contraband. Yeah. So
I mean,
I'm like,
that's
oh,
logical, right? That's I didn't know they started doing it, but it totally makes sense. I mean, why not? Right? You don't have
yeah,
to risk your life. You just
yeah. And
yeah.
the prisoners have to actively ignore it because if you hear the noise and you look, it'll alert the guards. So you have to, make sure you don't alert anyone by looking at it. So everyone pretends they don't hear it. It drops in the yard, and whoever is expecting it goes to get it. And I was thinking, wow, fits perfectly with the story because the character of Ratel, his real name is Rémi Lachance, and he would like be in jail and seeing those drones and be like, oh, dude, I could totally, if I could build one of those and just fly out of here over the wall, I could escape. Which is, what you would do as someone who's incarcerated, right? You'd be dreaming every day of how easy it would be to just fly over the wall and go back to freedom, right? But he's still stuck in the system. He doesn't have access to that tech on the inside. And so he's waiting and waiting. And when he gets out, that's when he starts realizing those dreams. He's like, okay, I've been dreaming this for 9 years. I know exactly how I'm going to build it. And he builds this prototype and he goes on his maiden flight in the first comic. That's the initial story.
Very nice. Are there any Easter eggs
Of course.
or hidden references? Yeah, of course. I gotta ask that. I mean,
Of
come on.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every address is, reference to, Bitcoin or financial numbers, so forwards or backwards. So, the difficulty adjustment, which is a reference to the bill to get people's gold back and all that. So there's tons of little things, 21 here and there. So I just can't help myself from putting those in there as well. So yeah, for sure.
What I'm very curious in terms of like, so how do you build a script for like how do you do this? Like, did you develop the story first, or did you already have this idea for the superhero, and then you were like, then I need to develop a story around this guy?
Yeah. So I first got an idea of a superhero. I drew him. Like I was like, okay, if I'm going to do a comic, I got to have my design. And so I figured, okay, let's do a first design and then started building from that. And then the story kind of grew. Okay, well, I would need this for the story. I would need that for the story. And then so you kind of like think of all the things you want to be in the story. And, I wrote it in the worst possible way at first. You make your first draft, it's full of mistakes. The pacing is all wrong. And then I get people to read it, rework it. It's been through like something like 6 drafts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been reworked. There's been a lot of eyes on it. I have writer friends who looked at it to improve the story structure and character development. I have Bitcoiner friends to make sure I didn't do any stupid mistakes. Like, okay, so he was mining back then. What model miners were available at the time? I was like, oh shit, you know.
Did an S19,
No,
like, no, sure didn't.
So I try not to make those types of mistakes. I mean, you'll probably find some, of course. It's hard to make everything perfect, but I think it's not too far off the path.
All right. We're getting a question here from Wrangler. He's saying, speaking of references, do you have a picture of the bike?
Oh, the bike, the motorcycle bike?
Yeah.
Not near here. No, I do have a.
Is it
It's on the website. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you pull up the website, there's a homage to Akira, the Akira poster, and I found this nice.
Is it in the samples?
Yes, it's in the samples.
Okay, hold on. Let me share the screen. Hold on. It's too bad you can't do a double. You can't do 2 separate screen shares. Like once you share a screen, it's like. Anyways, come on, StreamYard, get fancier. All right, here we go. That's the bike.
Yeah, second one right there. Yeah, so that's it. BMW, German motorcycle. It's got a nice design, so you'll be seeing that one in the second book. So,
Oh, look at the license plate.
yeah. See, that's the kind of thing that only Bitcoiners.
UTXO.
Yeah, and
That's
of course, like you've got the Akira amphetamine pill, which is
yeah,
turned into an orange
yeah.
pill here. So, I just like to play on tropes that we all know and love, and have its own little Bitcoin spin on it.
I love it. You know what? What could be really cool is if while he's riding his motorcycle, he's mining Bitcoin.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm
see,
just saying it's like, but then does it all become too much? Right?
yeah,
At
that's
some
the
point,
thing.
right? The motorcycle, the
Yeah,
license plate says UTX, so he's got the orange pill on the jacket. It's like,
yeah. I try to keep it realistic, like grounded in things that would, because there's other ways to make a fantasy around Bitcoin and extrapolate, but I try to keep it like as if this guy's a real guy. He's living in the real world as much as
real
possible.
person. Yeah.
But of course, you've got super villains that are completely outlandish, and there's supernatural powers involved in all that, right? Like he's in the first book, he's saving this psychic spy, and she's going to become a threat to him because what happens when you keep your seed phrase in your head, but you're saving a psychic?
Yeah.
Did she spy your seed phrase and steal all your Bitcoin? So you're having a brain wallet is no longer secure, is it? So these things that can only happen in a superhero story are going to be happening. So we're going to have fun with the computer security in a superhero world.
A question here from Z. What kind of things does Ratel do to promote Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know that he's out there promoting Bitcoin. The thing is, he's living
Are you
it.
frozen?
Oh, am I frozen? I think so. Things are a little bit frozen. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? Nope. Hope I didn't lose you. Connection. Okay, you can see me. Okay. You're frozen a little bit.
Yeah, you're frozen too, but we're back. I think I see you again.
Good.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
yeah, he's not a promoter per se. He's just using Bitcoin to fight crime, I'd say, is what he's doing. So he's actually using it to invest in the crime fighting gear, kind of like a Batman, except Bruce Wayne is corporation. He has a UTXO stack.
Ah. All right, so that's what he's doing to promote Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You were talking about the over the top villains.
Yes.
Okay, so I have questions, of course. I'm assuming is there a Craig Wright villain? Is there like a
not in the first book
type villain?
It's first of all, it's going to be impossible not to have a fake Toshi at some point. So that's coming down the pipeline, but it's not in the first couple of books. So,
okay.
Not for a couple of years for sure, but it's like, it's inevitable, right? It's like,
right.
There's going to be like, he's going to meet the real Satoshi, and the real Satoshi is obviously going to be a disappointment. Spoilers. But yeah.
You know what? That's going to make for a very interesting story arc. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to put in a whole bunch of stuff in that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's right. Z-Logic. We also got to fight the hostile protocol devs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like this is, anyways, this is really cool stuff, man. I'm super excited that you're doing it. And like I'm looking at the style of your animation, and it is very like, the second I saw it, it felt nostalgic. It was one of those things where I looked at what you're doing. And of course, like, it's like, well, Phil, all comic books, kind of look alike. Some of them just don't have that feel though, right? Like sometimes like I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just not getting it. But this guy, it's like, because because he touches so many different points that I, of course, associate with, it feels very familiar already. Yeah. So yeah, man, I really love that you're doing this. Guys, again, the link is going to be in the show notes. If you want to donate to Frederic and you want to donate to his awesome comic book on Geyser Fund, Ratel.
Yeah, and it's not just a donation. You're actually backing the book.
Oh, you're actually backing the book. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss it.
Yeah, you have like 3 choices of covers, or you could get a 3-pack,
cool.
a 3-pack collector's pack as well. I even have BTC pins of Ratel's logo. If you're a collector. So yeah, you're actually getting some gear. You're getting some
swag.
actual comics, actual printed comics. I mean, there's a digital version if you're into that, but yeah.
Now, when it comes to this, I want hard copy. This is the type of thing you want hard copy, and then you want to keep it in. I mean, obviously you want to read it, but for the collectors of us, you just I would keep it in mint forever.
Yeah, it's going to be like old school comic books with quality newsprint pages as well. So it's going to have that comic book feel. I think if you're a collector and you love comics, you're going to want to get this one for sure.
Absolutely awesome. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. I'm super sorry. You know, it's supposed to be like a normal news day, but you know what I mean? Like, this is just way better. Again, thank you so much for joining me on
pleasure, man.
on Pleb Underground. Yeah, absolutely, man. I am looking forward to having you on again, especially when the comic is finished. Guys, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, right? Be safe, have fun in the US, I should say. So be safe, have fun, make those awesome memories, right? Family is the only work that's really worth it. And yeah, I will not be doing the news tomorrow. I'm going to take a day to sit on the couch and pretend that I'm useful. And yeah, going to be back on Friday, 12:10 p.m. for the news, as my screen is completely frozen once again. You got to love it. You got to love it. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of the day. Frederic, when I end the stream, don't leave. And yeah, guys, catch you all on Friday again. Happy Thanksgiving to the people in the US.
Catch you later.
Peace.